everybody.
Hi.
Hi, welcome back to episode 3 of the GS English podcast.
Woo.
My name is Owen.
I'm Lawton.
And today we are going to bring you another dialogue. In episode 1, we talked about schedules, and in episode 2, we talked about cost. What are we going to be doing today?
Today we are doing quality, and just like in previous episodes, we have some new vocabulary for you. And just like in previous episodes, we have a dialogue and some comprehension questions that we would like you to listen for. So let's go over those just briefly. So question number 1 is, what is the problem in this dialogue? Okay, so what's the problem? That's it, pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Number 2, why did this problem occur? And then lastly, number 3, what is the subcontractor going to do?
Okay, so some pretty straightforward questions there. Listen carefully, see if you can pick up those answers to those questions, and then we'll look at some expressions when we come back.
Let's do it.
I'm happy to see that we're back on schedule, but I was inspecting the work in Area A, and I found that some of the welding is not up to standard.
What seems to be the problem?
We found that some of the welds did not meet the required thickness.
Ah, that. There were some points that we decided only needed 3 layers.
What? That was not in the procedure. You need to do everything by the book, or the company will not accept the work.
But the procedures were wrong. We've been working hard to get back on schedule, and you said we need to think creatively to solve problems quickly.
We want you to think outside the box, but not to ignore procedures.
Okay. We'll redo the work as stated in the manual. I think our work is good enough, though.
I have noted your objection. Just hurry up and do the work as requested.
Will do. All right, so that was our dialogue. Let's go ahead and take a look at the answers to the comprehension questions. So our first question was, what's the problem in this dialogue? So, Owen, what is the problem in this dialogue?
Quite a simple problem. I think it was that the subcontractor did not do welding of the required thickness.
Exactly right. The welding was not thick enough. Yep, that was our quality issue here.
Right.
So secondly, why did this problem occur?
The problem occurred because the subcontractor thought that 3 layers was enough. They didn't need to do any more layers than that, so they just did 3 layers. That's right.
They just did 3 layers. They didn't follow regulation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then our last question, what is the subcontractor going to do now?
The subcontractor is going to go back to the site and fix the problem as soon as possible.
Exactly right.
Pretty straightforward, okay? So we got what happened, why did it happen, and what are they going to do to fix it? Hopefully you picked up the answer to those. Now, let's take a look at 3 key expressions and idioms, which hopefully you heard in that dialogue.
Yeah, let's take a look at those.
So, 3 expressions that you heard in the dialogue there. Some 3 good idioms, useful everyday expressions that we use. The first one was not up to standard. Not up to standard. In the dialogue, it said that I found that some of the welding is not up to standard. What does that mean? Yeah,
so basically not up to standard just means that something is not good enough, really. That it's not good enough, or that it didn't follow the proper specifications or regulations or something like that.
Not compliant with the rules, the regulations that we need to follow.
Right.
So something is not up to standard. Could you think of another example you could use?
So we could say something like, your homework is not up to standard, so I'm giving you a D.
D.
Pretty harsh.
Pretty harsh, but you know.
It happens.
Sometimes you gotta do that. All right. So our next one is by the book. Not to buy the book. I'm not giving you money for a book, but to do something by the book. In the dialogue, it says you need to do everything by the book, or the company, the client, will not accept the work. So what does that mean?
Yeah, by the book. I love this expression because it's so common and it really is used all the time in business kind of contexts. So by the book basically just means to follow all of the regulations or all the specifications or all of the rules for something. Do something by the book, to follow all the rules.
to do it by the book. So I assume everybody at GSC&C, we're all doing absolutely everything by the book.
Of course.
All the work we do, we're ticking every box, we're doing everything by the book.
Always.
Every day. All right. Our next one is think outside the box. To think outside the box. In the dialogue it says, we want you to think outside the box, but not to ignore procedures. So, think outside the box. What does that mean?
Yeah, think outside the box. This is also such a great expression, and I think it's something that we are really striving for these days here at GS. So to think outside the box just means to think creatively, to think of new and kind of interesting ways to solve a problem, right?
Can you think of an example?
An example of think outside the box. Yeah, so we could say in order to solve this problem or in order to solve this issue, we're going to have to think outside the box. We're going to have to think creatively.
So in the dialogue there, they thought outside the box, thought creatively, but really they were just not following procedures.
Right, they didn't go by the book.
Yeah, so this was a problem. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, so 3 valuable expressions. Use those in everyday conversation. It will really help you. Now let's look at a common error that we see and hear all the time in GSTs. All right, so let's check that out.
All right.
Common errors. So, over the last 2 years, we have heard loads and loads of mistakes which you guys are making in GSTs, in class, and here is a good example of one that we hear quite regularly. What is our common error today?
Yeah, the common error today is hard and hardly, and basically getting those 2 words confused.
Right.
So where does this come up in the dialogue?
In the dialogue, we used it correctly. It said, we've been working hard to get back on schedule.
And that's correct.
That is correct.
We've been working hard.
That's also a callback to episode 1, that expression, get back on schedule.
That's
Hopefully
right.
you tuned into that episode there. So we've been working hard to get back on schedule. Okay, so how do people sometimes use this incorrectly?
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes people say we've been working hardly. We've been working hardly, which actually means that we haven't really been working at all.
Yes.
Yeah. So hardly is not always wrong. It can be correct in certain contexts, but like we said, the meaning is just a little different. So, you know, what's a context where you might actually use the word hardly?
Yeah, well, I could say, oh, I'm really sleepy today. I hardly slept last night.
Yes, that's a perfect example. So I hardly slept last night, meaning I didn't sleep really. I didn't really sleep at all.
Yeah. So saying you hardly worked, or I hardly worked yesterday,
means you didn't really work.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to say.
Or I work hardly, I didn't really work. So yeah, we don't want to be making that mistake. Let's avoid that in the future.
Definitely.
Okay. So I work really hard. We have been working really hard. Okay. So 3, so that's our common error today. We also looked at our 3 key expressions. Hopefully you found those really, really useful and you can introduce those into your regular English usage. That is all the time we have for today though. But as always, make sure you go to EIP, you check out the worksheet and the script. There you can find some vocabulary activities, some of the vocab and expressions we used today, and you can practice with those. Okay?
Yeah, we also want to encourage you to take advantage of some of the other English offerings that we have here at GS. So please keep in mind that we have the business communication courses, the business skills courses, the EPC Sight English courses, contract letters. We also have phone English, and we have the new vocab app coming out, which, yeah, a great way to practice your vocabulary and learn some new vocabulary. So yeah, please do take advantage of all of these resources that we are providing.
Yeah, so much stuff for you to use to make yourself a better English speaker in 2019. Let's get after it.
Let's do it.
Okay, see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.